Welcome back to In Conversation with Claude Brule, the president of Algonquin College. Claude, we've been talking a lot about the pandemic and the impact it has had on the college. One of the things, certainly the healthcare sector, we saw it, where there was tremendous strain on it. That really, amplifies the need for skilled labor, in this case, healthcare, but right across the board as we go through this pandemic and the economic recovery that will come after it.
Absolutely. And, one thing that was very clear to us is that the health sector needs more people in certain occupations more than others at this time. In particular, personal support workers, or PSWs as they are known. And we've made efforts to try to grow the ranks of the PSWs by either trying to bring in more intakes or shortening the intakes by intensifying it. And we've made a pitch to the Ministry of Health. First, we did it locally in our region through our LIN, our local integrated health network, but also through the province and through our Colleges Ontario advocacy branch. And so we're getting somewhere. We've made that pitch right now to the Ministry of Health, and we'll see if there is appetite to fund this particular proposal in order to increase our output, if you wish, of PSWs, particularly in the more affected areas. So the regions like Toronto, Peel, York, and Ottawa, where there's definitely a great need for those workers to help support the healthcare system, but not solely, in healthcare. We're counting as well on the trades to help with the recovery. And as it's often the case, through infrastructure projects that can support and stimulate the economy. So we really need to also focus on skilled trades as well as a way to see to our future recovery.
When you talk about skilled trades and healthcare, they really underscore the importance of experiential learning, which is something colleges have always been known for, practical learning experiences. During a pandemic, that is more challenging. How has the college adjusted to that reality?
Well, that was tough at first, because when we went into lockdown, of course, everybody had to go home. And if we had students in placements, many of the employers simply said, for the time being, we're not taking you on. In part because they weren't willing to accept the risks, and neither were we. So everybody's kind of staring at each other. But we came a long way there, because as we came through the first wave and came through the stage 1, stage 2, employers started to realize that it was okay. People could continue to do their if the work was available and they could do it safely from home. Many of our learners were able to continue to work for their employers, continue their placement in that fashion. And so that was great. In other cases, we're able to get a waiver system going with the employers, and that allowed our students to resume some of their placements, and whether it was in hospitals or with first responders, for instance, paramedic, so they could play a role. We had, in fact, paramedics play a role on the COVID drive-in test sites, both in Renfrew County and in Ottawa. So, some ingenious ways to make sure that we could continue to see to the learning, that experiential learning that is so important for our learners in order for them to be able to be productive right from the get-go when they join the employer.
Business education partnerships are really the heart and soul of the Ontario college system. Co-op is something that Algonquin has really tried to promote over the last few years and has grown its numbers significantly. And co-op at the post-secondary level is very different than the high school level. These are paid employees who go to the workplace with 8 months at least of training under their belt in a field they're interested in. That, of course, has also been problematic during the pandemic to try to get those placements, but there have been employers that have been creative and found ways to do it. Why is it important for employers to continue to make those co-op opportunities available to the college's students?
Well, the way I always paint co-op is as it's a two-way interview, a long interview, right? It gives the employer an opportunity to assess their potential future employees under real conditions and be able to determine if it's a fit, for both sides and for the student as well. Is this the environment I want to work in? Is this the right employer for me? Do we have the same sort of value system that would allow me to thrive? And so to us, it's a great way to learn. It is part of our framework for experiential learning, and it's highly valued by our students. Often the reason they come to college is because of the co-op. That's part of the program, so that it allows them to have that time in the workplace to hone their skills, practice what they learn in class into a live setting, and then be able to springboard from that and be that employee afterward when they graduate for that same employer. And so it's a win-win as far as we're concerned.
Claude, you've had a long career with Algonquin, more than 20 years, and you've most recently, before becoming president, you were a vice president academic, and during that time, you were playing a significant leadership role in what became known as the LearnerDriven Plan. Mm-hmm. What has the pandemic taught us about the LearnerDriven Plan, and what does that look like moving forward?
Oh, what it's done is it's accelerated many of our projects by anywhere from 5 to 10 years, amazingly enough. By having to suddenly pivot in the manner that we did, and to the extent that we did, to really try to deliver not only the academic programming, but also all of our services to our learners, whether it's financial aid, to admissions, to health services, to mental health services as well. All of that is now done remotely and primarily one-on-one. And so our desires to become known as the number one Ontario college in terms of personalized student experience and personalized learning has really come to the forefront, in part because of the acceleration that the pandemic has given us. So we're mobilizing, we're redefining what we're able to deliver, the manner in which we deliver it, with what tools. And we're learning a lot as a result. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. And through continuous improvement, we're going to continue to deliver on that promise for our learners. But we're certainly a good way into it now.
There have been a lot of things that the college has done from a strategy perspective. One of them has really been embracing the recommendations that came out of the Truth and Reconciliation report from Justice Murray Sinclair a few years ago. Algonquin has really been on the forefront of that, hiring a vice president of Indigenous Affairs, and a lot of great initiatives underway. You must be very proud of those, and what are the things that you want to talk about that effort?
I am very proud of our work on indigenization, and you can see the backdrop behind me is an example of that. So at our main campus in Ottawa, for instance, in the courtyard that you see here, there's a large structure that is inspired by a Anishinaabe Algonquin fishing weir that you would have found in streams and rivers. And we've renamed several of our locations on campus after Algonquin people. And so, for instance, that courtyard is known as Ishkodawin. And the building that you see there on my right, your left, or vice versa, the big glass building, is our new DARE district. That's a reimagined library, as well as a space for entrepreneurship and innovation, including Indigenous entrepreneurship. And we've been able to create spaces for Indigenous learners to call their own, so that they're able to not only find things that are familiar because of either architectures or artifacts or art on the wall, but also in terms of finding a place that they can call home, because they're amongst people that allow them to thrive and be who they really want to become. And whether it's being an entrepreneur, being a business person, being in art, being in technology, we have been able to create those spaces for our learners and being able to support them in those endeavors. So we're really, really pleased with the success that we've had, and we continue to grow those efforts. True in Ottawa, also true in Pembroke. You know, you're doing great work in Pembroke with the Circle of Turtle Lodge, and as well as the Algonquin of Pequotnagan First Nation, in order to bring learners either on campus or help meet their needs and what they need in order to thrive as communities. And you've recently signed a 3-year agreement for a research project that's titled Maniwi Mada Dizi, which translates into Algonquin Starts a Journey. And it's a great grant that was provided by Social Science and Humanities Research Council, or otherwise known as SSHRC. And it's a great research project that addresses several of the TRC's recommendations that you spoke of, that were part of the commission that Marie St. Clair led a few years ago, back in 2015. So a lot of great initiatives. There's more we need to do, absolutely, but we're taking some great steps in this regard, both from an education perspective and education support, as well as supportive communities, and helping with Indigenous businesses as well.
Claude, we only have about a minute left, so I just wanted to close out the interview with, you certainly were part of the college when the new Waterfront Campus was built here in Pembroke, and that has had a significant impact on the local economy and on access to education. That's been another big project for the college that's really paid off.
It has. We're so proud of the city of Pembroke and their commitment to their college, you know, raising $2.5 million to the construction of the new Waterfront Campus and $300,000 more that went into bursaries for students. And we're very proud of that partnership between the city and the college, including the creation of now up to 5 residences for our learners to be able to walk to school and have safe lodging while they're here at Algonquin College in Pembroke.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us today, Claude. It's always great to talk to you and keep up the good work as president of Algonquin College.
Thank you very much, Jamie.